we'll get caught up. Cool. So I've got, again, this is the workflow. Need to go get some pens. We go, this is generally how it's going to work. Cinema 4D, unless it's an all After Effects thing, Cinema 4D, probably multiple files. Those go out to PNG sequences. The PNG sequence comes into After Effects. How do we get it in here? File import. And you can navigate to the image sequence. Here it is, cube render. And if you just click on one, it should recognize it as a PNG sequence. So this box right there should get checked automatically. After Effects is set up to look for sequentially numbered things in a folder and recognize them as one thing. Okay? So that should be checked. If it's not checked, check it. And if you click import, you know you did it right if it's one thing up here. If it comes in as 72 images, then you did it wrong. That's not what you want. After Effects should recognize it as one thing. Although, if we look up here, anything seem wrong? Yeah, the frame rate is 30 frames per second. There is no information in a PNG sequence about how fast it's supposed to go. It's literally just a pile of pictures. And so there's no frame rate information. And so when you bring it in here, you need to tell it, I want to see these frames at 24. By default, After Effects just defaults to 30. And so if you come back here, how do I do this? This is the part that gets a lot of people. Because if you don't do this, it'll take 24 frames per second and play it back at 30 frames per second, which means all your stuff will be shorter than you thought, right? You won't get 3 seconds, you'll get like 2.4 seconds or however the math works out. So right click, interpret footage is the important window here. And under interpret footage, you can say, no, this is supposed to be 24 frames per second. And so now this will play these pictures back at the correct frame rate. Instead of making a new comp and dragging it down, there's a nice shortcut here. I'm going to right click and say new comp from selection. And that'll make a new comp, put it on the timeline, make the comp 24 frames per second, make the comp the same length as this image sequence. Super handy. So you can just say new comp from selection. If I hit play, good to go. Yes?
So when it clips out at the top like that, was it because of the camera angle or?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if I didn't, if I wanted it to be, resizable, which, I wasn't really after here, then I just would back the camera up or change the focal length or something. Yeah, because at this point, it's just a bunch of frames. There's no, I can't move the camera at this point. It's just there. It's just a bunch of pictures. So let's put a background in. I'm just going to make a new solid. Sure. Put it below. Let's put a gradient on it. So I'm going to go to gradient ramp. And let's make it a radial ramp. I'm going to move these gradients. So this one's in the middle. This one's kind of just grabbing those points. Where's the other one? Oh, here it is. There we go, something like that. Let's make the other one darker. Actually, let's make this one dark and then the other one light. So I'll just swap. There we go, something like that. I'll move this one a little bit further. That. There we go, like that. Right, so this is why we rendered with an alpha channel. I can put whatever I want behind the cube now. This is compositing. taking these two, I'm able to layer on top of each other. If you didn't check that alpha channel button, then when I put the solid in there, it would stay black, right? Instead of being black, it's see-through now. And in fact, let's make this work. So let's grab the colors from this. So like that, and that, and swap. Yeah, there we go. That makes it a little bit more coherent. So now the colors from the thing are being used for the gradient. Makes it a little bit more. All right, and that can go, that's behind it. I can put some text in front of it. So we'll do our thing here. I'll do the thing where I look up the spelling because I'm never sure how these things are spelled. I think, is it possessive? Yeah, Rubik's. Now I need to know. Invented by Erno? Emo? Erno. Does anyone know how to pronounce the 2 commas over an O?
Is it like where it's like?
I think it's off.
Erna?
Is it 2 dots?
No, it's two commas.
Oh.
All right, regardless, this is the guy who, it's his cube, so let's, and I'm going to scale both these up. I'm going to center this stuff. Let's go like that. And something I like to do here is make the text fit in a box. So this is kind of defining the size of it. I'm going to make cube. I'm going to just highlight cube, go back to character, scale the cube up until the edge of the C and the edge of the E line up. And then I can also scale, this is the, I always forget these terms, baseline shift. So we can sort of bring this together a little bit more like that. There we go, Rubik's Cube. Maybe scale this a little bit more. And let's just sort of do an outline on this. So how about and let's dial this up a little bit. And let's convert to shape layers. Gives you a whole bunch, but you can't adjust them at the same time, which is nice. I just want the outline. Yeah, I'll just go with this layer style. There we go. And dial down the opacity a little bit. I think I'll use another text animator, one I like. So under Effects and Presets, with the text selected, I'm going to go to animate on, or just on. Yeah, on will bring me in there. Text. Let's go with fade up characters. Make sure I rewind when I put that one in. There we go. Cool. Let's save this. Now everything's the same. This goes to composition, add to media encoder queue. When I save this one, I need to make sure I save it how? What does it have in it now? PNG, so file, dependencies, collect files, right? So that it brings the image sequence with it wherever it goes. Composition, here, media encoders started. And yeah, same thing. So now I can just bring up Vimeo, 1080. And put this on my D drive.
Do you have to save it, dependency every single time, or just the first initial time, and then whatever you do next, you can just save it?
Yeah, as long as you didn't add more stuff. If you added more stuff to it, you probably want to collect it up again. Depending on how big the stuff is you're adding, you can manage this by hand, just like making sure that it's in the footage folder. So if it's like a 7 GB file, probably not something you want to duplicate, but if you just move it to the footage folder, then that's fine. It'll find it. So I don't know why this is happening. Today there's not, it doesn't seem to be finding the D drive for some reason. I'll just render to the desktop for now. There we go. Anthony, is there a D drive on that computer? Are you seeing one? Double click. All right, and this will be, I'll have my Rubik's Cube animation, right?
No.
Okay, that's what I thought. So compositing. Made something in 3D, set up lights and cameras, rendered it out as an image sequence, brought it in here with an alpha channel, able to put stuff behind it, put stuff in front of it, and then sent it out via our pipeline. This is the way almost any 3D application is going to some sort of 2D compositing program before it goes out. Anything from the Avengers or Game of Thrones, right? There's like a gazillion 3D programs involved. They're all funneling down into something like After Effects or Nuke, and then layered, sweetened, color corrected, put together, sent out this way. So there's always the compositing stage, and almost all the programs for compositing are separate from the programs for making the 3D stuff. And so our workflow, C4D, PNG sequence, After Effects, Media Encoder, movie. Right? That's called the pipeline. This is people's career figuring all this stuff out. Because obviously, like Avengers, Game of Thrones, it's a gazillion different companies involved. They need to send each other information. They're using different programs. Getting all of that from one program to another, one company to another, one movie to another, right? You do something like Game of Thrones and like you're using similar assets season after season, or maybe changing them, sequels of movies, things moving forward. So it would all, these pipeline data experts, those are, full-time jobs inside of visual effects companies, animation houses. So our pipeline is pretty simple. Cinema 4D, PNG, After Effects. Cool. Let's stop that.